This is Aaron Green, wishing you and your family happiness, peace, and mangoes this holiday season and throughout the new year from Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Guardian Radio Today is brought to you by Bahamar, John's Department Store, and Prince Masters.
And welcome to another edition of Guardian Radio Today. I am your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. As always, I am grateful to be here with you all on a cool December day. I'm really excited about the cool because Lord knows the summer was so hot. I was praying for this cool, so it finally reached. I pray everybody's staying safe on the streets. A lot of cars, a lot of traffic. People shopping, people making the best of this holiday season. And so today we want to talk about this time of year. For some people, it's Merry Christmas. For some people, it's just season's greetings. For some people, it's Xmas. For some people, it's Hanukkah. We want to talk about this Hanukkah. I want to bring our special guest in today. You should be familiar with him if you do listen to the show when I'm on. I want to bring in my good brother, Rev, Dr. A.J. Vama. My brother, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Man, I'm just happy it's not blazing hot anymore.
Okay, well, let me see if I can send some of this.
I know you got cold.
I'm listening to you like, oh, you're blazing hot. Come on to England. We got something blazing. It won't be hot, though.
I know, right? Yeah, my brother. I'm doing well. Really wanted to bring you on today because as I move about, as I talk to people and get a feel for where people are at, I still hear a lot of the same Christmas songs that I grew up hearing when I was younger, which I love the Christmas music. And I love this time of year. It's a time of family. It's a time of gift giving. It's a time of food, etc. And I know that there was a point in my life when I really wanted to understand more about what this time of the year truly meant, based on, the Bible and Scripture at large. And, of course, being a member of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, we learn about a time of year we call Christmas, and more specifically these first 9 days, Hanukkah. And so I wanted to bring you on to touch on it as best as possible. I know there's a lot to touch on. I don't know how much you'll get through it. But you wrote a book called Christmas, The African Origins of Christmas. And in this book, underneath the question, what is Hanukkah? You say that Hanukkah is the feast of sacred mental lights which brought forth lamps during the Atonis Christmas season. And this is when the 7 candlestick menorah is placed in our windows to symbolize the opening of the 7th seal, while the 9 candlestick menorah is also placed within our homes on our dining tables, which we observe in remembrance of the 9 Sedjet, called Ennead by the Greeks, whom these guardian angelic hosts succeeded in teaching humanity how to bring about artificial light in the form of flashlights, light bulbs, and the likes here on Tar Earth. And so there's a lot going on in this particular paragraph, and I just want to slow down and just walk through it piece by piece. So Hanukkah, the feast of sacred mental lights which brought forth lamps. What exactly are we saying here?
All right. Well, I'm happy we got a little bit of time tonight, so we can try to walk through it. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us on, my brother.
Yes.
As always, and thank you to Guardian for allowing you to have this broadcast.
Yes, indeed.
Or be on it. The Most High Heavenly One, the great I Am, When it comes to creation, human beings have to come to grips with the reality that Black people, African people, Afro-Caribbean people, brown people, beige people, purple, mocha, amaretto, cappuccino, mahogany, ebony, even down to albino, because we're everything in between, that we are first. We are the first people on this planet. We are the first people of all life. We are the first people. So being the first people, it is also important that people come to grips with holidays and all of these things having an origin from Africa.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we look at the monotheistic religions, the Abrahamic faith, we that are Christians, true Christians, we that are Hebrews, true Hebrews, we that are Muslims, true Muslims, we all acknowledge that we come out of Abraham. You know, Father Abraham had many sons had Father Abraham. He had three sons, or three main sons, Ishmael, Isaac, Isaac, and Midiani. And each of these had 12 sons and a daughter. Through Isaac, he had a son called Jacob, 12 sons, one daughter, son named Esau. And Midian, the 5 children of his wife Keturah, his third wife, had sons as well. Okay, so these sons had a religion, a faith system, way of life, culture. They had something, right, called in the Quran, Muslims use the term Millatu Ibrahim, the religion of Abraham. The Bible, you know, in the Old Testament, talk about these people who took a vow called Nazarites, which Abraham was called a Hanuf, an upright one who was upright but before God. In the Bible, they use the word Hanuf. So when it came to this season in ancient times, they recognized the seasons, what you call winter, spring, summer, fall. Now, the people of the Nile River Valley, and they're very important because Abraham goes down into the Nile River Valley, into Egypt. Isaac goes down into Egypt. Jacob goes down into Egypt. Joseph goes into Egypt, brings his brother and their families into Egypt. Moses is born, you know, in Egypt. Aaron, Miriam, Egypt, the tribes. Jesus, life in danger, he goes down to Egypt. But this Egypt was called the Nile River Valley, right? For everything from present-day Egypt all the way down into Uganda, Sudan, etc. These were Nubian people, African people at one time, and still are in many places today in that region.
Right.
And he's educated there. In fact, the Bible says Moses, according to the book of Acts, chapter 7:21, was waxed wise in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. The book of Luke says in Luke chapter 2 that the child was waxed wise in the spirit. Same thing, same verbiage when you compare the two, Acts 7:21. So during this time of year, they had what was called the winter solstice. They had, at that time, they only had 3 seasons. They didn't have a winter as we know it in the northern hemisphere where it's cold. But they had 3 seasons. You know, this whole idea of away in the manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. This whole idea of the shepherds in the field. Well, the shepherds would not be in the field in this freezing time of year. But they had a spring season. They had an autumnal season and they had a summer season, right? They have 3 seasons in the equatorial regions of the world. And during these seasons, because every holiday innately was surrounded or was based upon seasonal changes, festivals. The book of Leviticus is very clear about that, right? Leviticus, it talks about the festival. They call it the Festival of Booths. Sukkot B'nov, Sukkot. They had the festival of Rosh Hashanah, right? The head of the new year, Rosh Hashanah, they call it today. They had Yom Kippur, right? What we call Yom Kafare. The Days of Atonement. Today is a day of atonement. The Jews of today, the Hasidim and so forth. You had Purim, another festival that would come about. But when the Israelites were coming out of Kemet, and because Moses is waxed wise in all the wisdom of the African Egyptians, of which he was one,
right,
the original Tamareans, he picked up these festivals, this culture, and what they're calling Israelite culture is African culture. What they're calling Judaic culture is African. But no one's consulting the Africans, right? We didn't exist. Though Moses was waxed wise in all of our wisdom, right? You didn't have Egyptians leaving Egypt to be waxed wise in the wisdom of the people of Goshen,
right?
So these people had a festival in ancient times to bring in what was called today the winter solstice, December 21st, around that time of year. And then in the summertime, there was the summer solstice, and we had a festival to bring that in, right? The fasting period to end the year. The year did not begin in January, right? Caesar's not born yet. Janus, the god of Janus, right, that looks in both directions of the Romans, that's not born yet. We're talking ancient Neolithic, right? There's a great writer, a great teacher, one of our Tonus popes named Shek Entigia. And he wrote about the two cradle civilizations. And the northern cradle of civilization, which is Europe, goes back 6,000 to 8,000 years. Smithsonian, in fact, Smithsonian, the library, the museum, they agreed with him. In fact, there's a docu-series, right, called Quest for Fire, that Smithsonian Magazine says it does actually explain the origins of the Europeans. They got mad at Smithsonian for saying it, but they said it nonetheless. That this is very, very much the reality of Europe. Meanwhile, there was a southern cradle of civilization. It goes back, the bones of Lucy, 3.5 million years or more. And in this cradle of civilization, we lived by nature, right? We understood that the Most High Heavenly One manifests in aspects of nature, right? And so when this time of year would come, there was a festival. And this festival dealt with light, right? Because this was the time of year where there wasn't as much daytime, sunlight, as there is darkness or shadow. So these people had to design a way by which to have lights. In fact, the British, when they arrived to Nigeria, they said they saw Ile-Ife lit up. This is in their records. So these Africans developed a system by which to have light, right? Street lamps, things of that nature, all across to light up at night, to have a nightlife. People could be outside and business, trade, and so forth. And so that doctrine, that understanding, which the people of the Nile River Valley also had, the Niger Delta taught them, so they had it. By the time we get to Moses and the biblical Israelites, who were African people, by the way, right, returning home, and had been enslaved by some invaders into that land called the Hyksos or the Hittites or the Hurrians or the Macedonians, who also become known as Ptolemy, and graft a name from the African Hebrews, and they start calling themselves Haribu, which is very close in phonetics to Haribu in Hebrew. So they get there, and I'm giving history. This is all stuff you can go online, you can find out, and if you put it all together, then you're, oh my gosh. And so this Festival of Lights was focused on giving electricity, just like today, right? Countries where electricity exists or lighting exists in some fashion, whether it's incandescent or using certain types of paints, or even some of us when we were little, I don't know if we should admit to it, but we used to grab the fireflies, the ones that light up at night, and you could take that little green stuff out their backside or whatever it was, and if you rub it on stuff, it'd glow all night. Or we used to put them in a jar. You leave them about 20, 30, 50 of them in a jar, and they light up your room all night. Well, the ancients would study that and developed a way to utilize their cochlea, that greenish incandescent material, to create light at night. Right? Because people say, well, so they learned that. And when they succeeded at learning from these fireflies, which is of the same family of the dove, or what we call the scarab, when they succeeded, they had a massive festival every year to commemorate this festival of lights, that they had mastered being able to bring artificial light at night, right, to glow and set. It was just beautiful. The Israelites returning home, right, of Abraham's seed returning home. When they're there, these people from the Tigris-Euphrates Valley, from Ur of Chaldees, who went there with a man called Nimrod, because Nimrod, according to the Bible in Genesis 10, he leaves Cush, because he's the son of Cush. Cush is Ethiopia, the region, not the country. And Ethiopia is the son of Ham, and Ham is Africa. So these African people, Nimrod's people, they go and they build, according to the Bible in Genesis 10, they build Akkad, Erech, Babel, Kelna, and Shinar, right? And Shinar is the plains of Sumeria. So all of these highly advanced civilizations that the world is talking about, well, they're really African architecture, African sciences, because Nimrod was an African. They may not like it, but it's there, right? And so they celebrated this. So by the time these Hyksos are paralleling at the same time and actually enslaving the African Hebrews who had returned home. These Hadibu are enslaving the African Hebrews. These Hyksos, these Macedonians, these Ptolemies, which the book of Exodus chapter 1 says a new king had came into power in Egypt that did not know Joseph. And his advisor said to him, hey, the Israelites are much more in many than we. Behold, if they should ever side with an enemy, if war should break out and they side with our enemy, we're in trouble. And so this Hadibu, or these Hyksos called Macedonians, the Greeks, Hellenists, best known in that time as the Ptolemy dynasty, they came in with their Christos there, or their Christo, this man Ptolemy Soter, which means the savior. And he introduced a new god, a new system of Baal, a new lord. Isaiah 19 talks about a new cruel Lord was assigned over Egypt, a new Baal. The word Lord is Baal. And, the Israelites got misled to worship Baal. And by following these Hadibu, who were pretending to be Hebrews, according to the book of Revelation, chapter 2:9 and 3:9, I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not. They are the synagogue of Satan. So they came in bringing in their Macedonian, Greek, satanic ways and perpetuating it as if it was ancient Hebrew doctrine, which was never at odds with Africa. Right? The Old Testament is African by its Levitical laws, and everything it does is just African. The New Testament, of course, that's Greece and Rome. Book of Romans, book of Thessaly, Greeks, book of Corinth, Greek, Corinthia, Galatia, Greek. Those are all Greek city-states and so forth, in Greek doctrine for the most part. Let's go back. So these people at the time in Africa, in this region, these 5 cities that Isaiah 19 talks about at that time, 5 cities of Egypt will speak the language of the Canaanites. These Canaanites, called Hyksos, called Hadibu, called Macedonians, called Hellenists, called Greeks, called Ptolemy, right? Because they have many aliases. That's normally when you're committing crime, you get a bunch of aliases.
Exactly.
So they're now in this area, and so they see what you were practicing and didn't understand it, but understood enough to mimic it, right? Today you call it cultural appropriation.
Yes.
When they see sisters with Bantu knots, and then some Chinese lady puts it in her hair and calls it China bumps, right? When they see a beautiful Nubian Melanite lady with a body that's black, right? Butt, breast, lips, and want it. So they go get injections in the lips and butt and, try the BBLs and all this other thing. That culture, and same in rap, right? Eminem comes out of nowhere. He's the greatest rapper of all time. Macklemore, greatest rapper.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
Right? Elvis Presley, king of the king. He's the king. We don't know king of what, but he's the king. Right? So cultural appropriation has been going on a long time. It's the oldest crime. The oldest crime is cultural identity theft. And so they see what you're doing, and then they create. The Hellenists say, well, we got to figure out how we're going to justify this. So they say, well, the Maccabees, there was some people, and that's us, right? This is them saying that's us. They're going to claim it. They got to claim everything.
Right.
We're the Maccabees. And they say, well, these are the Hellenistic Jews who were living under the rule of Herod at the time of, in Rome.
Yeah.
And these Herodians, the Herodians or Ionians, right? They're mentioned in the book of Genesis 10, 1-4. And the people of Kittim and are called Idumeans or Ionians. And they were not having it because they were saying, well, you can't bring Greek culture into Rome. Even though the Greeks and the Romans know they come out of the Greeks in some fashion, just like the Americans know, white Americans, that they come out of Europe, they come out of Germany,
right.
For most part, they come out of England, but they don't want to claim England, right? So England has God Save Our Gracious Queen, right? They say, well, we're going to remix that, right? Right? So every song that England has, Francis Scott Key rewrote it. No, he just did an R. Kelly, did a remix, right? Well,
Right.
Same thing was happening in Rome at the time. The Romans were saying, well, we're Romans. We don't want to keep saying we're Greeks because then we're giving the power to the Greeks. Though we come from the Greeks, we're Romans. So we're going to use Greeks for certain things as far as society, but we're going to use Latin, which is a form of Indo-European language similar to Greek, but we're going to call it our own, right? Like America. We from America. I grew up in America, and that's what we're going to do, right?
Right.
And I said it like a New York going to do, right? So, so they want to take this doctrine of the Greeks, but they want to put a little Roman twist on it. So they start to do Rome, Rome, Rome. But the Macedonians living in this area at the time said, well, that ain't right. We should acknowledge, like some American whites acknowledge their British history. You know, the former president, Joe Biden, he came to England at some point in his presidency and said, well, I'm from Ireland. President Trump came and he said, I'm from Scotland. And everybody comes and they kind of go back home where their kinfolks are. So the Macedonians who were living under Roman rule at this point said, no, we're Macedonians. So they're going to call themselves Hellenist. And then they become known as Hellenistic Jews. And they introduce gymnasiums and those things. And that kind of Hellenizes the religion that the Africans had previously had, that the Macedonians under Ptolemy pick up. While, according to Isaiah 19, they had been occupying for about 100 and something years the Ptolemy's rule, and the Hyksos would rule. Same people, right? They try to play as different, but they're ruling. So now they designed this thing and said, well, the Maccabees didn't have enough light, didn't have enough oil. So they put special oil in their oil lamps. And the oil, instead of it burning for one day, the miracle, it burned for 7 days and a whole miracle. Ain't happened since.
No.
That's the problem, right? All the miracles they keep telling us that happened and misinterpreting as miracles in the Bible, why none of them happen today? You know, why when you don't have enough gas in your tank, it don't drive for an extra 30 miles?
Right.
Or drive around for an extra 7 days. Let your gas get on E and see if you can drive your car around for an extra 7 days. That's a miracle.
Yes, get some of that.
Right, you might get some. You might have some fumes that get you to the next gas station if you're lucky.
Right,
and then you can walk the rest of the way. But actually, no, it's not going to happen. So that the way they've made it a movie type of thing. You know, had enough oil for one day, but it burned for 7. Ooh. But yet I see people who call ourselves Jews today, white Jewish brothers. I see you putting gas in your tank. Where's the miracle? I see you taking oil. I see you going to Africa and taking the diamonds. I see you taking resources, but yet you're telling me about this miracle God. That's Baal. What we got to accept is that Baal took over. Asherah took over. The priest of Baal took over and took rule of Jerusalem, according to the book of Joshua 5. Right, that the Judah couldn't push them out. Right. And Joshua 10:56 and 46 says we couldn't push them out, and they were ruling there. And that's who you see ruling in the land of the Holy Land today. Right. These are the Jebusites. These are the sons of Canaan. Back to the holiday. So Africa had this festival of lights.
Yes.
Of the 9 lights, because we had the Ogdad, the sacred 8 plus Atum Re, making 9. Then you had the Sedjet. That's another group of 9. And so these were African ancestors, guardian angels, if you will, that just like you have Saint Michael, you know, Saint of Patriots, Saint of Police Officers, Saint Francis of Assisi, Saint Patriots, Saint of Pets, Saint Raymond, right, Saint Xavier, Saint Helena. Well, these saints of Catholicism, which is the Romanized version of Judaism, because the Catholic priests are walking around wearing a yarmulke, wearing the garb of the priest, the kafnuth with a sash across the hip, right, with bells on the bottom in the form of fringes. The high priest of the Jewish religion today, when the Jews gather, the Hasidim. If you're in Crown Heights, New York, and Brooklyn, or go to Williamsburg, if you're in Stamford Hills in London, these areas where the Jewish community Hasidim are seen, you'll see the high priest. If you ever catch them come out, you'll hear bells ringing because they wear these little bells that look like fringes or like tassels at the bottom of their coat or their white robe, right? But that comes from Kemet or Tamare, right? No ram's horn, unless without Africa, the ram horn they're blowing is the Nubian ram, the African ram, so no ram's horn without Africa, right? Shofar is not blown, the shofar.
Yes.
So this festival of lights is happening. We Africans are observing it as bringing in the winter solstice or this time of year. And for 9 days, we light 9 colored candles. This was African. Somebody's going to take it, usurp it, remix it, culturally diffuse it, culturally appropriate it, and then present it as if it's the authentic and as if we are the ones that are not.
Right.
So we have this system with these 9 different colors of the bow. because in this time of year, we always remembered the covenant of God made with Noah back in Genesis 7, 8, 9 to protect you. And it says, I put a bow in the sky. So the colors of the bow, the red, the orange, the yellow, the blue, the green, the indigo, and the violet, which splits, those 9 colors were always used to remember for 9 days each of these spheres, which you call ionosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, etc. These spheres that protect our frail bodies from the ultraviolet radiation coming from the sun, etc. That's what the festival originally was about, remembering the covenant of the bow.
Yes.
And so the Sedjet using light, right, incandescent light to create light, to light our cities and illuminate our minds, it became a festival of mental lights, of illumination. Time of year we're going to study because, you're going to be inside more because it's cold outside. It's going to be inside more. It's raining outside. You're going to be inside more. It's too hot to be outside, depending on which country you're in. And so the festival began there. And the Macedonians called Ptolemy, called Haribu, mixed Hebrew, Greek Hebrews, they would borrow it and create a holiday that they call Hanukkah. When we use the term, even the word Hanukkah, the Hanu was the sacred spirit, the divine transient etheric body or spirit. What Elijah says, he gave Elijah a double portion in the book of Kings, right? That Elijah breathed on Elijah. He asked Elijah, what you want? He said, I want a double portion. So he says he blew on him of that spirit, the same spirit that Christ blew on his disciples, right? And they began to perform miracles and speak and teach. That spirit is called the Hanu, right? The word Hanu, Ha, Hashem, the name Ha means the in the Hebrew. Nu, the light, Hanu, the light, the true light, the light of every human being that comes into the world. We Christians read the Bible, but we're reading it in Greek. And sometimes we'll say, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God, the same was in the beginning with God, all things were made by him, without him was not anything made that was made. In him was the life, and the life was the light, the light of every human being, the true light, the light of every human being that comes into the world. So that light is called Hanu, the word for new light, Nur, Ur, fire, flame, Nur, Nawor, light. Ur of Chaldea, fire, flame. Ur, the root. In the Greek, in Latin, they use the word pour, P-U-R. So there's P-U-R, pour, light. U-W-R, or U-R, Ur, Abraham from Ur of Chaldees. Ur, light, flame, fire. You can look this up in your Bible, Blue Letter Bible. Nur, Arabic, light. Nar, fire, N-A-R, Nar, light, fire, flame. So it kept going back to this light, the light intellect, right? The knowledge. The Greeks grabbed it and said there was a god, they call him Prometheus. And Prometheus stole the light from the gods and gave it to man and made man get knowledge before time. And so Prometheus's punishment was to be staked down, crucified on the side of a mountain and have this vulture, this eagle, some say vulture, some say, right, this eagle eating at his intestines for eternity. The very symbolism that they would graft as their Christ, right? On a cross, stabbed in the side, water, similar story. Odin crucified on a tree. Odin, the Norse god, same thing, he's crucified. And they keep grabbing it.
Right.
Anyway, so that's the original origin. Then you had a Christmas period. So these ancient Africans of the Nile River Valley civilization, they're very intelligent, right? That's y'all people, right? These ancient people of the Niger Delta culture, the ancient people of the Harappan civilization, the ancient people of the Mississippi Delta, the ancient people of the Amazon basin, the ancient people of the Tigris-Euphrates Valley, these African Kushites, ancient people. They were very intelligent. So what they also did was they understood that during this winter solstice, as it's called today, this period of around December 21st, they didn't have the name December, just the period. They had a 9-day period, but they had 2 calendars. Even the Jews of today will tell you that there's 2 calendars. There's a civil calendar and there's a religious calendar. The civil calendar runs with whatever land that you're in today. You would say January, February, March, April, May, all the way through December. But there's also another calendar that's running, right? So you have the civil calendar that begins in the winter time, which is December, and right, or December period, December, January. And then you have the religious calendar that begins June 21st, summer solstice, right? So we had these two calendars also. The Jews of today have a religious calendar. They have months like Elul, Tammuz, everybody's favorite one, Pentecost, which is the Hebrew month of Nisan, right? And Nisan. We had the same, right? So these two calendars are still running. We today, as Atonists, Nazarites, we observe our calendars. One calendar begins in this winter season. That's the civil calendar. And the other calendar begins in the summer season, the summer solstice. That's the solar biological calendar. Okay. And it begins these two seasons. Today, you call that season for the astronomy, astrology. They call it Cancer. I give it this name. But it wasn't that. It was the great Binu, or the ibis, or Tahuti, the bird that brings life. They always saw this stork carrying a baby. That's where the mythos comes from.
Okay.
So the Africans, knowing this, said, okay, we have a system by which this season is observed. But during this season, if you go to Kemet, to the Nile, they got this big building. It's called a pyramid, massive, 570 feet tall, which is about 57 stories high today, because every 10 feet is a story. So 57 feet high, this massive structure, massive. And this Giza complex, so they aligned it with a constellation called Sahu, the soul of Usia. Today, the Greeks have taught us it as Orion. And these three pyramids aligned with the belt of Orion. It's three stars, El Nitak, El Nilam, Mintaka. Now, we Christians should find this very important because we had these wise men.
Yes.
And these three wise men came. In fact, the three stars of Orion's belt are called the star of the wise men. The star of the three. That's what they call it in astronomy. Because this system moves across the sky, because the planet's rotating, of course, making it appear like these three stars are moving. So the wise men are moving, but they're moving towards Sipt or Sabdu, what you call Cyrus today, or some call it Sirius, the dog star that sits on the collar of one of the two dogs that the Greeks call the hunter's dogs, but we called Anubis or Anubu and Bao, which are assisting the Nazarite.
So let's stick a pin right there.
Okay, we're sticking pins.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
You got to run to a break. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma, and we are getting a wealth of information today on the origins of what people call today Christmas, but it is Christmas or Hanukkah. And I know I'm enjoying it. I pray those of you who are listening are enjoying it. We're going to be right back after this break. Keep it locked here at 96.9 Guardian Radio, fresh news, smart talk all day. Back after this.
Step inside the John Baptiste Jazz Club at Baha Mar, where the rhythm of the islands of the Bahamas meets the soul of New Orleans. Every night, the lights dim, the music swells, and the air fills with that unmistakable energy, the kind that makes you close your eyes and just feel. Savor signature cocktails, curated small plates, and live performances from world-class musicians, all in an intimate, artfully designed space where every seat has a story. Whether it's a romantic night out or a spontaneous evening with friends, this is where you want to be. The John Baptiste Jazz Club, only at Baha Mar. Reserve your table now at bahamar.com/jazz club or through the Baha Mar app, because every evening plays its own tune.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day. What?
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and Gretzi.
We need to start joking about everything, This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk.
No, boy. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Croc Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know who you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody, from Talking Heads right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. See you in the new year.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. And we're talking Hanukkah today, right? The African origins of Christmas. And we've been going through a lot of the history of how things ultimately, well, how they were. And now we're kind of getting to why they are the way they are. But ultimately just sharing this information with regard to Hanukkah. And Dr. Varma, as we were talking before the break,
we were talking about the stars of the three wise men.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how this is what the wise men, they say the wise men followed a star and they went to Herod, big mistake, right?
Right.
Thinking, he's going to help us find them. And Herod was like, yeah, sure, go bring them. Different plans.
Right.
And then so the angel told them, look, y'all need to go a different way. Mm-hmm. But then an angel appeared onto Mary and to Joseph and said, take the child and his mother and get down to Kemet, get down to the Nile River Valley. You African, what you doing up here with these Romans and these Greeks?
Right.
Go down there.
Right.
Well, this season that we call it a nativity, right? To be born. No, Christ was born in a manger. And he was born because there was no crib for a bed. So they put him in a manger and there was goats and sheep and cow and roosters and donkeys and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. But the reality is that's called the Dendera. That's the zodiac. The African zodiac had those animals as glyphs. He wasn't born in an actual barn. Anybody who's ever been to a barn knows that is
no,
right? No. But he was born in Tamare. They called it the Apta, A-P-T-A, and it means manger. And the crib that he's on is shaped like a actual a heifer, like a cow.
Okay,
this is what they were talking about. People don't want to accept that Africans had a spiritual system. Africans had the religion that we believed in the Most High, the Great I Am. We weren't pagans swinging from trees, Ooga Booga, Tarzan, none of that. That's the propaganda.
Right.
In fact, Europe was the one swinging from cave to cave and talking about That's their doctrine. That's their origins. So instead, we Africans, we people of the covenant, of the original scriptures, original books of the Bible, had this time period where the Messiah was born in, and he was born. The miracle was that he was born during the cycle of the Nazarite that happens every 2,080 years. Because what they would do is take the planet's circumference, 24,896 square miles, rounded up to 25,000, and divide that by the 12 signs of the zodiac.
Okay.
Right, or the 12 houses. Right. And in Christ, when he says you go into Jerusalem, you'll meet a man standing there with a water pitcher.
Yes.
The Greeks would grab that becomes Virgo. He was born, he had a disciple called Thomas, Didymus, and that means the twin. That's the sign that they would graft and they would make that Gemini. All of these signs are now pushed into rewriting through the Vulgate writers of Latin and the Septuagint writers of the Greek, but without telling you the African origins.
Right.
So he's born at the head of one of the cycles. Every 2,000 approximate 80 years, the signs of the heavens shift into a new house. That's why he said, in my father's house, the house of the Dendera, are many. I said Dendera because he's down in Egypt.
Right.
If he went to Greeks, we'd say Capricorn, Libra, and all that other craziness. But he didn't. He went to Africa, so you got to work with me on this. Sorry, folks. Right, so he went down to the Nile River Valley, and he gets there, and he learns about the houses of Dendera, the same place Moses went, because Moses went to what they call Sinai, and in Sinai Peninsula, in the Sinai, there's a place called Serabid and Kedem, where the temple of Hathor is.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they say Aaron made a great heifer, a great cow. That's the symbol of Hathor, which they villainized by the way they tell the story with Yul Brynner and old school Charleston Heston, which became Kristen Beale. And I forget whoever played Ramesses this time.
Yeah.
But this story was an African system. We weren't pagans. We were the people of the covenant.
Right.
And so that festival of Keresmas, the mass of the head spirit. See, the word Keres, Ka means spirit. Rest, Rosh, Rais, Ras. The Rastas say Rastafari, head.
Yes.
The Christian or Hebrews say Rosh Hashanah. The Arabs say Rais, the word for head. So Keres is the head spirit. The Bible then takes it and says, Christ is the head and we are the body. And so it became a symbol for the birth of the Messiah to be born, one of his two births, because everyone, again, there's two births, civil calendar, religious calendar. The birth that you have from mother and the birth that you have when you've been baptized. And they said, I made you a priest for this day have I begotten thee, a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So Christ has two births. The day he's born of Mary and the day he's born after the order of Melchizedek made a high priest, the Prince of Peace, does such and such and such. And that's why it says, this is my son in whom I am well pleased. This day have I begotten thee. So that was another birth.
Right.
This was African theology and cosmology. Again, they may not like what I'm saying, right? Because nobody likes to be told that what I've been learning has been tainted or misconstrued. But it's just what it is, right? Christ said you're going to have to, according to Matthew 10, you're going to have to go out here and tell people what they don't want to hear.
Right. Exactly.
African people, indigenous people, the original people of the Niger Delta culture and the Nile River Valley civilization, these people had this record. So we had a Hanukkah festival of mental lights, and during it, on the 5th day of the 9, we had a Keresmas, a sacred mass to remember the first Nazarite, whose name was Nazaru or Asaru. The word Asaru or Nazaru or Nazarene or Nasri or Ansarullah, right, depending on which religion wants to grab it as monotheism, he was the first Nazarite, the first story or doctrine or writing of a man giving his life to save his people. And this, Martin Luther King becomes a Nazarite, if you will. Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Winnie Mandela, Sojourner Truth, all these great men and women, founding fathers of Bahamas, or the founding mothers, who sacrificed their personal wealth, their personal comfort, their personal freedoms, their personal lives for the people. That's the doctrine of the Nazarite. And they separate. To do that, they have to be disciplined and separate themselves from doing the things that the average person would be doing. That's why they took the vow of the Nazarite.
Right.
And so that's where we get the Keresmas part from. And then it would lead for 9 days. So you have Hanukkah, the 5th day of Hanukkah, Keresmas, and then 4 more days of Hanukkah. And that was how it worked. Now, you said in the beginning, the opening of the 7th seal. Now, this is where Revelations comes to play. Book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 12 says, I, John, saw one like unto the Son of Man, girt about the paps with a golden girdle, his head and his hairs were white as snow, eyes like flames of fire, feet like unto burnt brass, voice the sound of many waters, and dressed in a long white robe. And it said, but he held 7 golden candlesticks. That's the menorah.
Yes.
Right? And those 7 golden candlesticks represent the 7 days of creation, each candle igniting or illuminating the doctrine concerning that day of creation. We just did a series in our church, in fact, what happened in the original days of creation. And each of these 7 days were not a 24-hour period, but a period of 7,000 years. Because one day to the Lord is like unto 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like unto one day. So if it's one day is really 1,000 years multiplied by 7, each day is 7,000 years, or a cycle that Earth goes through, 6,000 year cycle, 6,000 year cycle. NASA knows what we're talking about for those who want to debate it.
Right.
How the planet shifts to complete 6 times 4, 24,000 precession needle wobbling the planet. You see what's happening with the rising sea levels, global warming, and all this other beautiful stuff that we're going to have to deal with, right? Sooner than later, I promise everyone.
Yes.
And so these people had a doctrine, right? These Nazarites, and this covenant that they were advocating, which we have to advocate today, said, worship the Creator alone. Now, what the problem happened was, we Christians, we know what happened. Here come Baal. Here come Jezebel.
Yes.
Here come the Macedonians. Here come Hellenism. Here come, rampant random sex. Here comes Janus, right? Janus. Here comes Juno. Oh, here come Dionysius. Here comes Zeus, Poseidon, Demeter. Here comes Athena. Here comes Diana. Here comes Artemis. And what do they bring? Ooh, they bring any and everything go. They bring Puffy on steroids. Right? Puffy is nothing compared to the Festival of Janus. Any Christian can look this up. The Festival of Janus, the Festival of the New Year. You know, we're going to stand out in a random place and count down an apple and then tongue kiss a random chick that's standing next to me. Ugh, who does that? Well, they do that. Go to New Year's in New York City. You'll see it. And it happens in other places. So this shifted us from the discipline of the Nazarites and the doctrines. Christ had a doctrine. In fact, Christ says, in that day, many will say, Lord, Lord, we've healed in your name. Done all kind of miracles in your name. We're going to say, yeah, I hear you. Get away from me, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you.
Never knew you. That's right.
Right? So something has happened. Our Christianity has been hijacked.
Yes.
Our Hebraic doctrine has been hijacked by the sons and daughters of Canaan. Our Islam, real African Islam, West Coast Africa, Timbuktu, Mali, not the Arabs of Saudi Arabia. Ancient Africa, ancient Saudi Arabia for that matter, African people who ruled, because ancient Arabia was under the Kushite Empire,
right?
The Aksumite Empire. That doctrine has been suppressed. And now black people, we just acted as converts, and we believe ourselves to be Gentiles. If we were Gentiles, why did God send his only begotten son to us? When he was in danger, they could have sent him to Russia.
Right.
The angel could have said, Joseph, go to Russia.
Right.
Joseph, go to Greece. Joseph, go to Corinth. Go to Patmos. Joseph, go to Galatia. Joseph, go to Thessaly. Joseph, go to... No, take that lady, her newborn boy, go to Egypt, and it says, and stay there till we tell you to come out.
Right.
Damn.
Right. That's
so he was
instructions.
That's a long day.
Yes.
That's instructions. Next time we see him, he's 13 years old, talking to the Pharisees.
Right.
So he was educated to where when he got back and started talking, the Pharisees were like, what the hell is this little boy right here?
Yes.
What's he doing? He had them, they were dumbfounded.
Yes.
They were more perplexed than they were puzzled. They were bewildered because he was African in his theology. He was advocating a doctrine that they were in, whoa, because they thought that he wasn't born. They thought they got him.
Right.
Why do I say that? Because Herod said, kill every what?
Yes, every male child.
Every male child of the Israelites.
Yes.
They thought they got him.
Yeah.
We got him.
Right.
When Moses was being born, the Macedonian ruler, Ptolemy Soter, a new king who arose, said, kill every boy. And what are they yelling to the world today when it comes to black boys?
My Lord.
Black men. All around the world, they're killing black boys and killing black men.
Yes.
And black people don't see the correlation.
Right.
When Abraham was born, they said, kill every boy. When Muhammad, the Muslims say when Muhammad was to be born, the Meccans was trying to kill up all the boys of the Quraysh. This same story of the elimination of a certain seed. Because racism, white supremacy is afraid of white genetic annihilation. Not because we're going to do anything to them, just because they can't have children.
Right.
Their genes are not strong enough, not potent enough. Like Muhammad said, weak and wicked. So go figure, right? Can't reproduce. That's what we're looking at. So this season that we're in right now, this is the season of reclaiming the covenant. We're supposed to be remembering who we are and making sure that that next generation of children know this is not just Christmas.
Yes.
That they are created as a way of taking everybody's money.
Yes, commercialization.
Right, commercialization. This is the season of Christmas. The mind of the Kodesh. The Kodesh is the body, the spirit body, the mind, the mentality. Because the Bible says the mind, we're supposed to take on the mind of Christ.
Yes. 1
A lot of us
Corinthians 2.
Christians Was it First Corinthians what?
2:16.
2:16. Take you on the mind of Christ. I know a lot of pastors, they skip right over that one. That means we're supposed to think like Christ. Well, Christ was revolutionary.
Yes.
He was not for the oppressor. He didn't pray for the oppressor. He prayed for the oppressed.
That's right.
He taught the oppressed.
That's right.
He taught them that they were divine. Is it not written in your law? I say you are gods. But children of the Most High, Psalms 82:6. He stood for the people.
That's right.
Now we got caught up. And now we following the oppressor.
Yeah.
Christ had an image. Christ said the image of Christ is described Revelation chapter 1, 12 through 15, Daniel chapter 7, verse 9, Revelation chapter 4, verse 3 as a melanated person.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they got us looking at the little nativity scene, the little white boy. Now, I ain't hating on white people, but I'm not going to worship somebody that right there because that's not the description God gave. In fact, that description of that little albino European look, that description is called the image and likeness of the beast, according to Revelation 13. And it's described in Leviticus 13, 29, 26, 36, 39, Leviticus 14 as having yellow thin hair. So yellow thin hair or blonde hair is a curse, according to the scriptures. Now, they were okay when they told us when we were the curse of Canaan, they were enslaving us. But now that we've discovered and they've had to admit that they're the curse of Canaan, now we don't want to talk about that no more. We're neither Jew nor Gentile. We're all one in Christ. No. Come on, Paul. You can't do that.
No.
The book of Revelations, they keep talking about, Revelations says that, the Bible says we're all one. There's no more Lord. Then why are they talking about Revelation chapter 7, 144,000 from the 12 tribes of Israel, 12,000 of Judah, 12,000 of Reuben, 12,000 of Levi. Well, Levi's not on the 12,000 of Ephraim. Why they got 12,000 of each of the tribes if the tribes aren't supposed to be no more? And you told me Revelations is the end time prophecy. So in the end times prophecy, there's going to be Israelites. And it ain't the people of so-called Israel today. It ain't them.
No.
That's the Jebusite. That's the Amorite. That's the Hittite. That's the Hivite. And they introduced us to their God called God, which is Baal. They've introduced us to their Lord Baal, to their God Adonis, called Adonai, to their God El, to their God is Ishira. And God is worshiping them instead of worshiping the Most High Heavenly One, the great I Am. And how do we worship the Most High Heavenly One according to Revelation chapter 22? By obeying the laws and the commandments and the ceremonies and the rites and the rituals that some pastors are telling us we don't got to follow no more. And so we ended up moving from Christmas during the Hanukkah season. And now they now moved us towards some worship that the book of Jeremiah describes. Jeremiah describes when people chop down a tree.
And that, so let's because we're gonna run to the news. You want to stick another pin? We're gonna stick another pin. I want to jump into Jeremiah chapter 10, and then I want to also. I got a text that came through asking about the wise men and asking. They said in scripture they don't see where it's specifically 3 wise men, but they wanted to touch on that. So I want to. We got to run to the news. We're going to touch on the 3 wise men, Jeremiah 10, and a whole lot more. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. I am your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. And this is Guardian Radio Today. We're going to run to the news and pay some bills and be back after this. Keep it locked.
Happy holidays from Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri. Have a beautiful and wonderful Christmas.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio Today with your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. Our special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. We're talking Christmas, Hanukkah. We had a whole history lesson just now, and there's so much more to go through. But when we left off, I wanted to read a text, Dr. Varma, and then we could jump into Jeremiah 10. The text says, It says that the scriptures, the Bible, the question is that it doesn't say three. It just says Magi or wise men from the east, and the text is asking. It could have been multiple men, not just three. Is the question. The number three is the interpretation from the number or the types of gifts, but doesn't necessarily say three men. So they were curious about that. If you could just share on that, please.
Yeah, sure. These were three spiritual masters, three solar biologists, and their disciples.
Okay.
But the number three is not coming from them. It's coming from the star they were following.
Okay.
We're talking a solar biological event, an astronomical, not astrology, not astrology, astronomy, an astronomical event. That a stars don't move. I know people. Stars are fixed points of installation. Stars are suns. They don't move. And if they do move, they by the time we follow. Anyway,
yeah.
But the planet is spinning. So it gave the illusion that the star moves. And it does it every night. If you go out at night, if you're in the northern hemisphere, you watch the constellations. With every hour, you see them moving across the sky. And they rise in the east. And then they go across and you watch all of the different, if you go to the southern hemisphere beneath the equator, you see the same except different set of stars. And it was at this particular time it happened, because we used to say every 70 days, but it happened on this particular night.
Okay.
So that it's called the star of the three wise men. This was before the advent of the three wise men.
Right.
The people of the Nile labeled it the star of the wise men. And so the three comes from those three stars that sit in the belt of what they call Orion today. And they call it El Nitak, El Nilam, and Mintaka. The ancient people of Tamaray had this.
Right. Okay.
This is our doctrine. And the Bible agrees, because the Bible says, Genesis 1, giving you the sun and the moon and the stars.
And verse 14.
Verse 14, that you may know the signs, the seasons, and the days. And Christ kept giving us in the Bible, for those of us who follow the Bible, he kept saying that you know the time is near by the signs of summer. You see the fig tree, the fig leaves, summer is near. So he was into agriculture and he was into solar biology. He was tracking things and predicting things, and not from the pseudoscience, but just understanding human nature based off of weather conditions, understanding food, resources, festivals, signs. And I've given you the sun, moon, and stars to know the signs, the seasons, and the days. The festivals, when to gather, when not to gather. This was us. Now we somehow got co-opted and usurped, and now we're following the festivals of Janus.
Right.
And the festivals of Juno. Because you say June, so they replaced the summer solstice of the Nazarite with Juno.
Right.
They replaced the winter solstice with
Janus. Okay.
And both of those guys were
it was wild boys.
If you want to do Puff Daddy and Cassie on steroids times 1,000, then you want to go ahead and observe those festivals. So that's where that number 3 comes from.
Right. And so when you talk about us moving away from the original Christmas season, in Jeremiah chapter 10, it talks about these idols and the living God. And I just wanted to read a little bit of it and have you respond to it.
You about to make people mad.
Hey,
I didn't do it.
You know, before I even read this, I wanted to throw something at you, because last week we were talking about some of the pagan aspects of Christmas, and a good friend of mine, he said, "Man, I knew you was gonna have a show like this and just destroy Christmas. Why don't you just let people have their Christmas?" I wanted you to respond to that.
Destroy Christmas.
Right.
You're not gonna destroy Christmas.
That's exactly.
You're going to destroy what the Bible says, the pagan practices that somebody's inserted into it.
Right.
There's African there. The sugar cane, that's a sardo. The red and white sugar cane, blue and white, that's a sardo. That's the crook and the flail. We don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But the Celts got their hands in it. The people of the oak. The Druids.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the
Heathen.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Now, what's that word? That word for heathen? Goyim.
Mm-hmm.
The same Goyim spoken about in Genesis chapter 10, verses 1, 2, and 3, which is talking about the Ionians, the Kittim, the people of the Aegean, the Macedonians, the people of the Mediterranean. It literally says that. Look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And be not dismayed. Hatat. Be not, the word there for dismayed. Hatat. Be not dismayed. Don't prostrate to them. Don't worship them. Don't let them abolish you from the laws, and just don't be discouraged. Don't be amazed at the heathen. Don't be amazed at the lie that they've packaged so well. They don't tell you that Santa Claus was promoted by Coca-Cola for a reason, to sell more Coca-Cola. Anybody can look it up.
Wow.
As the signs, ut. The word for signs is ut in the Hebrew. That the signs, the signals, the beacon, the monument, the miracle, the mark, the token, the prodigy, the evidence, the insignia, the miracles, at the signs of heaven. And you think, oh, heaven, like God's in heaven. No. The heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of Shemayim, the heavens.
Right.
For the heathen Goyim are dismayed of them.
Mm-hmm.
The signs in the season of the days, they don't scare us. It's like, well, God gonna strike you with lightning for questioning. That's the heathen.
Right.
God gave us the power to question, so we'd be able to discern spirit. How you gonna discern spirit if you believe everybody? First John chapter 4, verse 1, beloved, believe not every spirit, but test the spirit. Question the spirit to see whether they're of God or not. For they've gone many false prophets out into the world. But it goes on. For the customs, Jeremiah 10:3. So now we're talking customs. For the customs of the people. The word they use there for customs, hookah, the Hebrew. And they use that word custom, the manner, the ordinances. So the beast people, the devil's seed, according to Genesis chapter 3:15. Genesis 3:15, they have customs.
Yes.
They have ordinances. They have manners. They have statutes. They have enactments. They have man's law that's always opposed to God's law.
Yes.
See? Of the people, of the nation of people, are vain, Hebel. They're vain, Hebel. They're a waste of time. They got us following things and rejecting the realities of things.
Right.
So don't be dismayed by it. It goes on. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Oh boy. They deck this tree that they've cut out the forest with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails. Oh boy. And with hammers that it move not. Sounds like my house when I was growing up. So somebody moved you away. There was a tree. Now the tree we talk about is Revelation chapter 12. The woman who was to deliver the baby, and the dragon wanted to consume the Christ child, and the woman leaned on a date palm tree, not the evergreen tree. The date palm tree was the symbol of the tree of eternal life. And old Ishmael, Israel, and Midiani. Talk about that tree, the tree of life, eternal life, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They were palm trees, not evergreen. The evergreen tree is the men of the oak, the Druids, the Celts, Samhain. It goes on. They deck it with silver and gold. Verse 5. They are upright as the, what does it say there?
As the palm tree.
So why we don't use the evergreen? Why do we use the palm tree? These evergreens are upright like the palm tree. Why would they be comparing it to the palm tree? Unless somebody's usurping a festival that the Africans already had. They are upright as the palm tree. And that word for palm tree takes us back to the word for tamare. Upright as the tomir. The word tomir. The palm tree. Tomir. Tamara. Tamara. Tamaris. The palm tree. The palm post.
Yes.
So you should be having that type of tree in the house. But let's continue for those who care to know. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They don't have a doctrine. See, the palm tree was the symbol of the tree of eternal life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And it was always carved and drawn. You can go online and type in Ma'at inside of the palm tree in Kemet. Amun inside of the palm tree, these guardian angels. They must needs be born. They have to be revealed to the people because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them. Oh, if you're not going to celebrate Christmas the way white daddy don't taught us to do, you going to get some trouble. But they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. Don't be looking for them to guide you, the seed of Canaan. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain. Now that word there, O Lord, Jeremiah 10:6. O Lord, Jehovah. So we have two parallel doctrines that are being run. One Christmas tree, one palm tree. One tree of knowledge of good and evil, the necessity of getting the knowledge that you need to know to be able to discern. The other is chopped down by the hands of the axemen to worship. And so there's a doctrine. There's a doctrine. There's information. If we keep going, it goes on. He has made the earth by his power. He has established, you think this is God, we're going to see in a minute, the world by his wisdom and has stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in heavens. And this is the bow. This is bow coming in. You're going to see it. Verse 14, every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. We're confounded by the image of the beast that's on that cross, that's on that crescent, that's on that synagogue. That tells us melanin recessive behavior and look is the right way. Again, let's read it again. Every founder is confounded. Babel. Every founder is confused. It's Ba'ar, brutish, in his knowledge. Every shut up is confounded. Yabes, confused. It's confused. It's made what? Withered, lost, at a state of loss. Every founder is, again, confused. Why? What does it say?
Just going back to it right quick.
Right? It goes on. For as much as it says, because they cannot go. We're down to verse, where is it? Verse 7. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee does it appear, for as much as among all the who?
The wise men of the
that's
nations.
where the wise men jump into the story of the tree. In all their kingdoms there is none like unto thee. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanity. Book of 2 Corinthians tells us what? Chapter 11, verse 4, another Jesus, another spirit and another doctrine. Silver spread onto plates is bought from Tarshish. Tarshish, back in Genesis chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. Tarshish Kittim, the Canaanite.
Yes.
Tyre and Sidon, of Matthew 15:21. And gold from Uphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men.
Okay.
But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God. Right? The Lord is the Yahuwah, is the living God. What else does it say?
And an everlasting king.
And an everlasting king. Go ahead.
At this wrath, the earth shall tremble, and the nation shall not be able to abide his indignation.
See that word there? Indignant, righteous indignation. Okay. Thus you say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, bowing them, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens. He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom and has stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish, a beast in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. That word for graven image, this is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 14, for those who might be wanting to follow along. Fishil, the graven image, idols, And it tells us here, idols of the heathen, idols, images of the Canaanite. It literally says this when you click it, the graven image of the Canaanite. So every time we worshiping White Daddy, we gotta be careful.
Yes.
For this molten image is falsehood. And there is no breath. That nativity scene, the Canaanites, that ain't it.
Right.
In them. They don't live, but they get you thinking scared. They are vanity and the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. We just talked about the tree.
Yes.
The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Gather up thy wares out of the land, O inhabitants of the fortress. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will sling out the inhabitants of the land at this once and will distress them. So as you're reading this and we're going through this, we start realizing, and then we're going to talk about the pastors, we start realizing that there's something happening here.
Yeah.
Verse 20, my tabernacle is spoiled and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth from me. And they are not, there is none to stretch forth my tent anymore and to set up my curtains now. For the pastors are become brutish.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Jeremiah 10:21.
Jeremiah 10:21. The pastors have become the evil pastors. They use the word ra'ah. Oh, prosperity gospel have become ba'ar, the brutish. Have become brutish. They're feeding their own ego.
Yes.
Taking money from people who can't afford to pay bills instead of showing them how to be empowered to be able to set up business to take care of their family first and foremost. And have not sought the Lord. Therefore they shall not prosper, and all their flocks shall be scattered. Behold, the noise of the brute has come, and the great commotion out of the north country to make the cities of Judah desolate. And a den, who's living in Jerusalem, who's living in the cities of Judah now, a den of dragons. The same dragon spoken of in Isaiah 27, verse 1. Pharaoh, the great dragon, the Macedonians.
Yes.
They were contemporaries. Oh Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh in direct steps. Correct me, O Lord, but with judgment not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Pour out the fury upon the heathen, that they know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name, for they have eaten up Jacob. But they gave us the land. It said the land of Tyre. Tyrus. The same Tyre and Sidon, the same Tyre that they mentioned sailing to the king of Tyre and Sidon in Isaiah 16, Ezekiel 28, Ezekiel 16. Same, these are those people. So this, the way we're celebrating it, the gift giving, no problem with that.
Right.
But the buying into hook, line, and sinker, the worship of a white God being born to save black people, when meanwhile, ain't nobody saved us. They tortured the hell out of us.
Yes. Yes.
If they want to give us that version, I'll take that all day. But to save us, no. We need saving from that image and likeness of the beast and get back to the laws and the commandments of God. For those who can appreciate and need it in this way. Other people, if you want to hold firm to blind faith and believe it's going to be all right, no problem. But
Yes.
I just hope you're paying attention to racism, white supremacy, and Christian alt-right Christianity and this whole thing that's back and new and improved, because it's coming to a church and a theater near you.
Exactly. We got to call it. We got a call on the line, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259 in the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Our Guardian Radio text line is powered by BTC, 422-4796. Of course, we're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com. Also, Cable Bahamas Channel 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Calling you live here on Guardian Radio today. Our special guest, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon to Anku and Dr. A.J. Varma.
Good afternoon.
Man, Majama, eh? Yeah,
I love how you rhyme everything.
I just wanted to let him know that, I wasn't far off. I'm always on the trail, right?
Yeah.
And so be not thou envious of the workers of iniquity. And, remember the other day, Anku, when I told you I had a problem with somebody in the chat group, and I had told him, well, how come you've never read where it says, I am the Lord thy God, I come out of the land of Egypt? And he was telling me I didn't read that, but he was supposed to be a Bible man, right? But he's frightened of the fact that that's in the Bible, but you take it as being a holy book, but you didn't take this look. You had a problem with that narrative. I am the Lord thy God, I come out of the land of Egypt.
That's Hosea
So that's
13:4.
showing the Steinbrain colonial Jesus White Serapis complex.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to make a quick statement, and because I've read some lost versions into dispersion. So I've read some lost versions, so I just wanted Dr. A.J. Rama know that I was always on the trail because I always question things, blind trust from the womb to the dust, right? It's a serious thing. So I was just saying that when the wise men came from the east, right, Dr. Varma, I intuitively said that they would have drawn attention to themselves simply because they would have known that these men were from a faraway land, and they said, when Thou came, and they said, Herod summons the wise men and asked them why they came, right? So the wise men told them, and so in the version that I read, it said that they had stopped in the cave. But the fact that the people would see the wise men from the east bearing gifts, then that would be a cause for concern. But the fact that they saying it was in a manger, saying he was in danger, I read actually a different version where this birth really took place in the cave outside the city because they were frightened that they were looking to kill him. So I go with logic rather than conformity. Also with other concepts about the resurrection and the doctrine of Immaculate Conception, which is a deception. So so someone like me, I could appreciate you on the airways, my brother. Give thanks.
Thanks, brother. 52. We got another call here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live. Caller going once. I hope you didn't step away to use the bathroom. We'll come back to you. So, Dr. Varma, the previous caller talked about reading about. I know when we read in Scripture, in one place in Matthew 2:11, it talks about the wise men finding the baby Jesus, if you will, in a home or a house. And then in other places, they talk about this stable. And you mentioned earlier that it's really talking about the Dendera, or this astronomical.
In my father's house are many mansions.
Right.
Yeah, that place.
Right. Because the question someone had recently was why would it say a house? And then we all when we did the plays as children, we was never in no house. We was always in the manger, or in the stable rather. But you explained that earlier. All right, beautiful. So Jeremiah 10, it really points out
there's a conflict between two doctrines.
Right.
Because it says the palm tree good to go in that passage.
Yes.
But that evergreen tree, that's not good to go.
Right.
But there's two doctrines running parallel. Something which the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah has been teaching.
Right.
From the beginning.
Right. Now, Dr. Varma, I know with relation to these lights that were, you mentioned artificial lights were being created at this time. I know that there are some carvings on walls in Egypt where they have pictures of what appear to be light bulbs, appear to be batteries, etc. We're talking about the same type of lights that we have today. I just want to be clear about that. We're not just talking about actual candles. We're talking about electricity. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about electricity.
Even back then. Wow.
Well, here's the thing. I always say to people, let's not even, we don't even gotta go way back then.
Right.
There was a black man. His name was Lewis Latimer. Now, if you ask the average person, black, white, green, blue, who was the father of the light bulb, they're going to tell us Thomas Edison.
Right.
Now, what they're not going to tell you is Edison had New York on fire, literally. His bulbs were going boom, and the set my house was on fire. New York was burning. Look it up. It's amazing. It was like fireworks every night, right? But the man named Lewis Latimer, he was the one who actually came up with the technology way before Edison, but black people wasn't allowed to have a patent.
Right.
So Edison said, look, man, if you come with me, I'm going to put the patent in for us. But he didn't do that, as I'm sure y'all realize.
Right.
Where did Latimer get that technology?
Right.
What did he say in his writings, Lewis Latimer, about the idea of the light bulb? Where did he say he got it from? I'm pausing for a minute.
Yeah.
Ancient who? He said, I got the idea from ancient Egypt.
Wow.
He said, I got it from dealing with the light bulb, and I had an innovation. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
He said, he said he had to think back of who he came from as an African. I'm saying Egypt, but let's put Africa.
Right.
And he took this knowledge as an African and began to think about how to create this mass productible carbon filaments. Same thing. Same way we're having a hard time thinking about what the ancients were doing. There's white people today that will argue with you that Edison was the father.
Right.
Same with the automobile.
Right.
We had cars way back then, yes. George Washington Carver. He's
That's
the one
right.
who made the car. That's why it's called a car.
Car. Exactly. Wow.
Henry Ford mass produced it,
Mm-hmm.
but Carver showed him how to mass produce it in the plant. That's why it's called a plant.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was studying plants.
That's right. Tuskegee University. Mm-hmm.
Tuskegee University.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that we look at the light bulb and we look at the automobile and so many other great black inventions. Let's not believe that African people, this idea that we were so backwards and we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have come and got you to build theirs if you didn't have the knowledge to build.
Exactly.
They didn't need laborers. Carver wasn't a laborer. Latimer wasn't a laborer. Garrett wasn't a laborer. These were inventors.
Yes.
The mind of an inventor
Mm-hmm.
who were bought forcibly, genetically, but maintained the genetic strength
Mm-hmm.
to still be able to produce.
Yes. Yes.
You see? So yes, we had the technology about batteries. There were batteries. They showed on the walls, and people will look at it and say, yeah, well, I mean, it looks like a battery, but that doesn't mean it's a battery. I mean, it looks like a flashlight, but that doesn't make it a flashlight.
Right. Right.
I thought if it looked like a duck and walked like a duck and quacked like a duck, it's a duck. So if it looks like a light bulb and the guy is shining the flashlight over there and over there is lit up, then it must be.
Right.
It must be light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It must be light. It must. Don't tell me it looks like a flashlight on the carving, but it's not a flashlight. Then what is it? I don't know, but it's not a flashlight.
Right.
I don't know, but it's not a light bulb. I don't know, but it's not a battery. The Z pillar is not a battery, but it has all the components of the modern battery. But it's not a battery.
Right.
And all the components of the modern battery are there in the order of the modern battery.
Yeah.
Now, were they prophesying the modern battery? Because then you got to make the Egyptians and the people in the Nile River Valley prophets.
Right.
So were they prophesying the battery and the light bulb, or were they the ones who created it? I guarantee you, if they found the same carving in Poland, they wouldn't say, no, it's not a light. They'd be all the great Polish people,
That's right.
creators of the light bulb. Yes, the Irish, they did it too. They made blood pudding, right? No one, they don't deny. When it comes to us, it's like to be the oldest race on the planet. If you let everybody else tell the story, we didn't do nothing.
We were just here waiting for them.
Textiles.
Yeah.
We didn't make food. We didn't make seasonings. We didn't make skins. They tell us, we African, oh, you're killing the animals and you're taking the skins from the animals and you're wearing the animal skin. Says the man sitting on a leather couch, wearing a leather belt with leather shoes and a leather car interior, telling us Africans who are wearing the goat skin or the impala skin or that something's wrong with us. He kills for fun. We killed for food and used the skin for clothing. The Bible says they made coats of skin.
That's right.
But we're the pagans. What type of people are we dealing with?
Yeah.
That have a standard when it comes to us, but a standard when it comes to them.
Right. Double standard.
As the great Paul Mooney said, what's ugly on us is pretty on them.
Right.
A black woman's hips and lips and thighs and skin, ugly. On Kim Kardashian, oh my God, she's a goddess. She's beautiful.
Right.
That's real talk.
I see it. You know,
real talk. And so I'm speaking this for the people who are Nubian, who want to wake up.
Yeah.
The people who are happy with being asleep. God bless.
Yeah, we ain't worried about that.
Happy New Year, Kwanzaa, all that. Doesn't matter. Because the reality is going to settle in soon enough because it's happening.
Yeah.
Ask Venezuela.
That's right. That's right. And Dr. Varma, this idea of giving gifts, so they talk about the three wise men coming in, bring in the frankincense, the myrrh, and the gold. What is the significance of these three gifts? And
first of all, significance is from Africa.
Well, yeah.
It's gold.
Right.
Gold.
Plenty gold in Africa.
Genesis, not just in Africa, Genesis says the gold of that land. It says out those four rivers, the Fishon and the Gihon, the white and blue Nile, the Feratu and the Diglet, the Tigris Euphrates. But when they talked about the blue and white Nile, they said the gold of that land is good. So they were bringing Jesus some good gold.
2:12, Genesis 2:12, yes.
Genesis 2:12. That gold. So where'd they get it from? Who mined it?
Right.
Like I said earlier, here's the things that we Jewish people would not have without Africa. No gold, no wedding band, no silver, no platinum, no diamonds, no rubies, no Crystal City wouldn't have a diamond, wouldn't have rubies, wouldn't have emeralds, because the Crystal City of New Jerusalem, according to the book of Revelation 21 and 22, as well as Revelation chapter 7, they describe it as having 12 gates and 12 stones. And these stones are emerald, sapphire, carbuncle, rubies, diamonds, Africa. So the Crystal City would be missing all its jewels. The breastplate of the priest would be missing all the jewels. The gold would be missing. The ram's horn for the blowing of the high holy days would be missing. The fabrics used to make the tizit and the tifla would be missing. The yarmulke would be missing. The kupa or kippah would be missing. What would Judaism be without Africa? What would Catholicism be without Africa? What would Islam be without Africa? What would we be without Africa? We know what we've become without Africa.
Yes.
We know what they would become without it. Africa is the breadbasket of everybody. The Caribbean is the breadbasket of everybody. Melanin people, we're the people that everyone's living off of. So the wise men's gifts, the gold from the land of the what you call today Ashanti land, right? West Africa, from Ghana, those regions in that area, or those countries in that area today.
Yes.
Frankincense, where's that from? What's frankincense made from? We so busy praising frankincense. Frankincense comes from what plant? What region? From what plant?
West Africa.
Yeah, but what plant?
Boswellia,
the
Boswellia trees.
The Boswellia trees. Native to Arabia, Somalia, and Ethiopia. Oh, so where they get the frankincense from? They didn't get it from Rome.
No.
They didn't get it. There's no FedEx back then. Where'd they get the myrrh from? The gifts of Christ are African.
Right.
Where'd they get it from? If the tree's in Africa, then who makes it?
Africans.
Huh? The myrrh comes from Somalia, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Oman.
Right.
So frankincense and myrrh is African. And Yemen and Oman was a part of Petrus, and that was a part of the Aksumite kingdom, just for anybody wondering. So there would be no frankincense and no myrrh and no gold. So those gifts.
So they didn't have no incense shops on the way. They ain't like stop.
No, you couldn't get, that stink, the other stinky incense, the green one that burned weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't bringing in that. It was bringing the good stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
And they don't. Again, I'm not saying this to hate. I'm not hating on nobody. I ain't got time to hate on nobody.
Right.
But I'm not gonna love on nobody either.
Right.
I don't have to hate you not to love you.
Right.
I can just not want no part of you because you keep lying on when it comes to the truth, and keep lying on us, and keep the world believing we're nothing as Caribbean people. We're nothing as Bahamians. We're nothing. Everybody comes to our lands and takes over everything we got. Everybody comes to our countries, comes to our neighborhoods, comes to us, and they make their inheritance off of selling from us, off of siphoning from us, off of stealing from us. And then while stealing from us, make us feel bad to be getting robbed. I mean, maybe if I did something different, I wouldn't keep getting robbed. While they're lying to us. So no, I don't have to love you just because I don't hate you. I just don't want no part of it.
Yeah.
Right? We got to get to that point, like Garvey taught us, like the Nazarite Creed says, to separate, do for ourselves, because everybody who we keep partnering with, they screw us in the long run.
And that's what we're going to run to a break. I want to run to a break. This is the last break of the show. But there are over 120 million. We talked about that tree in Jeremiah 10. They cut down 120 million of them every year. And you talk about the significance of those trees being cut down and this being flu season and how that affects the planet. I want to talk about that when we come back from the break. Our special guest, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. I'm your host, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. We'll be back right after this.
Reliable and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Loss of family members is very isolating, and people who have experienced loss appreciate when others have shared their grief. If you can't be there in person, go to the Nassau Guardian's website online at thenassauguardian.com and visit our obituary link. The Nassau Guardian's interactive obituary link allows you to read the funeral announcement, express condolences, or place photos on the online guest book for 1 full year. Losing a loved one is painful, but that pain isn't the worst thing to happen. Friends, loved ones, colleagues, and neighbors who ignore the loss compound the pain. Should the bereaved family wish to place the obituary and photos on our obituary site, just contact the Guardian's funeral industry partners or the Nassau Guardian. Remember, there isn't one magic right thing to say to someone experiencing loss that will make the loss less painful or easier to bear. The Nassau Guardian's obituary link, available online at thenassauguardian.com.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
From Kenny and the whole team at Kenny's Corner, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay tuned for more conversations that you love right here on Kenny's Corner.
And we're back here on Guardian Radio today with your hosts, Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. A special guest today, Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, having a wonderful conversation today about Christmas and the African origins of Christmas, talking about Hanukkah. It's been a lot said in the conversation. We talked about this tree mentioned in Jeremiah 10, and here in the Bahamas, like around the world, there are people who are purchasing these trees that are coming from up north. When I was younger, my father and I, we would just go into the bush and just cut down a regular old Bahamian pine tree and put it up. Today, they bring in these 40-foot containers filled with trees coming out of different places, I guess, Canada, United States, etc. In the parchment, in the book, the Christmas, the African origins of Christmas, because I didn't really think much of it. But in the book, it talks about this tree mentioned in Jeremiah 10, and here in the Bahamas, like around the world, there are people who are purchasing, these trees that are coming from up north. When I was younger, my father and I, we would go into the bush and just cut down a regular old Bahamian pine tree and put it up. Today, they bring in these 40-foot containers filled with trees coming out of different places, I guess, Canada, United States, etc. In the parchment, in the book, the Christmas, the African origins of Christmas, because I didn't really think much of it. until I read this book, and you were mentioning how when you cut down these trees have a purpose in nature. And I want you to touch on that, because I don't think we're really aware of how the environment is impacted when these trees are cut and why they're being cut.
All right, well, let's look at it this way, real simple. This is something anybody can do some simple research on.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you got the pine trees. What they do is they help to clean what you call air quality.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so they trap matter, dust, soot, year-round, absorbing pollutants. They're needles, pollutants like nitrogen oxide, and then they release oxygen. These are best for filtering in the urban environment, the air, big cities, and this is what makes them bring about what we call organic compounds that are volatile. And
Right.
these form another type of pollutants when they're not available.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we need a balance overall. It's the same reason you cleaned your house with pine growing up. Mom and dad would put the pine oil and say, "Go clean, go mop."
Right.
So a lot of the things that people are suffering from, these bacteria that would otherwise be trapped, the soot that would otherwise be trapped, they don't cut down all the trees. Now they got farms that are growing it, and that's supposed to be better than chopping down the trees. But what they're not telling you again is these farms cause another problem. Right? These farms are causing another problem. What's the other problem? The carbon footprint.
Okay.
Right? They each need a gallon of water a day to grow. They each fill up landfills afterwards. You follow?
Yeah.
And they're not being used to benefit the system.
Mm-hmm.
The land uses, the pesticide use to keep them from dying.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things. So we shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But like you said, if containers are coming, they're coming from somewhere, and whoever's selling them to us, they don't want us to stop doing that.
No.
we'll deal with the end of the world after I'm a billionaire. That's their mentality.
Right.
Capitalism does not care
Right.
about the safety of people. It cares about one person saying, "I got to get paid," or one group of people, black, white, green, or blue.
Right.
But that's the reality. But yeah, every time we chop down in nature these natural pine trees, they have a purpose.
Right.
It's supposed to be as a part of an astringent of the air quality, so we can breathe better. That's why if you ever been to a forest that has the evergreen pine, you can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
The air literally smells clean.
Yeah.
You'll notice not as many mosquitoes. You'll notice just so many things. But somebody goes in there and chops it down, puts some decorations on it, stick a star on top, or white Santa, or Mrs. Claus, or some white angel, and boom.
Yeah.
And they sold us on it. We all grew up. I watched Miracle on 34th Street. You follow with Santa Claus and testifying.
Yeah.
So
They got us all. They got us all. Yeah. Yeah.
But we have to become smarter and have the beneficials and righteous and law-abiding aspects of this holiday season and give back the pagan components.
So here in the islands, and I'm sure across Africa too, the older people there were times when they would use turpentine to wipe certain parts of the house. Or I've heard of stories where they just put a drop of turpentine on a cube of sugar and make you take it. I'm not telling people to do that, but I'm just saying they knew there was a
I like the way you cleaned that up.
Yeah. I'm just telling someone told me, I was like, what? But
it was the way that, they used to deworm.
Right.
Deworm,
Yeah.
But today somebody going to put somebody in the hospital. Drop this food or pour a gallon.
Yeah, don't do that. But this turpentine is coming from this the pine tree.
The pine tree.
Right.
It has a purpose. Or they used to put the turpentine in a little cup and put the cup way up high above like the kitchen cabinet.
Right.
And that turpentine fume helps to kill off bacteria in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But they always put it up way high so no child or animal could get to it. So we had these ways that our grandmamas and them had, but we've forgotten the old ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now everything is, go to the hospital, go to them and take some toxin and hope we get better. So we got to get back, but we can do it. I'm saying to the people who are listening, who care, you can do it. We just got to wake up and decide, hey, I'm going to do mine today.
Yes.
I'm going to get myself right. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to start researching. I'm going to get with organizations like the Holy Cryptic Church and actually study with them and become and contribute towards building something for our own future.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing before we wrap up. We got about 10 more minutes. You still have time to take a call or two if you want to, but Bethlehem, right? When, of course, we're hearing the story, we're learning about this Bethlehem, and linguistically, this word obviously has a meaning, right? There's also a book by an author by the name of Robert Feather called The Copper Scrolls, and he talks about in these copper scrolls, they mention the name of Akhenaten. They mention a whole nother city that is, for lack of a better term, an African Bethlehem. And I remember when I first read it, I was amazed because he mentioned that there were dimensions of the temple that was to be rebuilt in these copper scrolls, like part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that the temple, the dimensions were bigger than the area on the Temple Mount in what they call the Middle East. This Bethlehem, is there, for lack of a better word, an African Bethlehem?
Of course. Right. Let's get clear.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to places today, right, you hear the word Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And we naturally think Jerusalem.
Right.
But the word Jerusalem is Jerusalem and Darussalam.
Okay.
Darussalam is another way of saying Jerusalem. Well, there's a place in Tanzania called Darussalam. And before Israel took and set up in the area of Palestine, Israel today, one of the places they attempted to go was Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Balfour Conference and gave the state of Israel, they went to Tanzania, they went to Uganda. Idi Amin was like, get out, right?
Right.
So they went, all these places they kept going to set up a homeland. This is the idea. In fact, you and I co-wrote a book together called The Messiah They Don't Want You to Know About.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in there we discuss the Greater Israel Project. This has been now about 7-8 years. And now we're watching it, the map take place. We're watching them attacking Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and so forth and so on. So we're watching this Greater Israel Project come to life.
Yeah.
Unbeknown to the average person, we have no idea. And I'm not talking about Palestine and Israel, who's right, who's wrong, because neither one of them care about us.
Right.
Saying many of the Palestinians who are now facing their life and limb, they call black people nigger. They mistreated the blacks who live in Palestine. So that's a different discussion.
Right.
I feel for the Nubians that are there and pray they get out safely. Everybody else, they can go ahead and kick rocks. Right? But so that's the reality. That the people, when you're looking at Jerusalem, Darussalam, that's the Nile River Valley, all the way Niger Delta. That's the place of salvation. That's the place we Africans, indigenous people, that's where everyone came to be educated. That's where people came to be saved. And this region that they want us to believe is holy, ain't nothing holy going on there today.
Just bullet holes.
Only thing that they want is control of that region so they can move goods through those ports. There's a Palestinian port.
Right.
And because they lost certain ports, they need to reroute goods because of what was taking place in the Gulf of Aden with the Somali pirates and that whole movie crap, right? But what was taking place there, now they need to reroute the goods, and that port that's in Gaza.
Okay.
You follow? They're not talking about it.
Wow.
Right? The Gaza Strip that Israel wants.
Okay.
They don't talk about that. To replace, they've expressed a desire to utilize the port of Ashdod as the primary maritime entry point. That port to replace what canal?
That Suez or
the Suez Canal route. Because they've been going now, and when they get there, they want to do what's called Ben Gurion Canal.
Okay.
If I want everybody listening, type in the word Ben Gurion, Gurion Canal, to reroute all goods from Suez Canal, because there's a big debate between Ethiopia, Egypt, Sudan, and reroute everything, cutting down time, not having to face potential of getting robbed by pirates, as they say, and move it to Ben Gurion Canal in Israel.
Yes.
It's an alternative to the Suez Canal. They have a proximity to this Ben Gurion Canal that's near Gaza. That's the incentive to remove the Palestinians. You know how much money they face to raise? Now, this is not me saying it. New York Times reported on it. That Israeli officials obtained detailed knowledge of an attack plan a year before, but didn't do anything about it because they wanted to make sure that whatever was going to happen, it could be maximized to secure the Ben Gurion and the building of this new canal that would replace the Suez Canal. And that would mean trillions of dollars pouring in. Wow. Please understand. Please, people. There's more to it than meets the eye. More to it than always more to it than meets the eye.
Well, with that, we say happy holidays. And
yeah, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. No, all jokes aside, I want to wish everybody, nonetheless, happy holidays.
Yeah.
Right? This was information that's necessary to help change the way you approach things. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy your family, can't enjoy your friends. Be safe. Don't eat so much. Watch what you eat. Don't let nothing give you the bubble bellies. And come out of the holidays with your mind right. If you're going to sit around the table and eat well with the turkeys and the good foods and even the non-good foods, the hams and the pork chops, don't do that. That's Leviticus 11:7. But if you choose to violate the law of Leviticus and eat whatever you want to eat, just remember, clean out yourself afterwards. Take some laxatives. Take some colon cleanses. Get yourself right so you're not sick the rest of the year, regardless of what you're going to eat. And most importantly, get back to the laws and the commandments, the ceremonies, the rites, the rituals, the precept principles. Because at the end of the day, if we don't get right with the Most High Heavenly One, as they say, get right with God, then who we gonna get right with?
That's right. So we're not trying to take away the fun. I mean, I'm having fun with my family. Dr. Varma's having fun with his family. We're giving gifts. We're eating, but we're doing it in a way that, like he said, allows us to be able to function because January coming. if you blessed to make it, them bills gonna be there. So make sure you enjoy yourself. Be safe on these streets. If you're traveling, keep your head on the swivel. And if you're driving, if you're on the airplane, if you're on the train, the bus, whatever, be safe. The streets are very clogged here in Nassau. I'm sure it's the same way up there in London and throughout the United States. But we want to thank Dr. Varma for taking the time. He's very, very busy, and I'm grateful that we got an opportunity to have him for the whole 2 hours today. Dr. Varma, I pray that you stay safe over the holidays and enjoy yourself. And for the callers, the texters, everybody who chimed in today, we're grateful that you were able to do so. Of course, next we have the one and only Naughty and Mary J. that's going to be coming, the Talking Heads. And, there's a lot going on in the country. So I'm sure they're going to fill you in with the conversations that you're used to from them. I want to thank our producer, Mr. Penniman. He's always on point, and we're grateful for him. Again, my name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III. Our special guest today was Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. Keep it locked here on 96.9 Guardian Radio. Fresh news, smart talk all day. Namastu, family.
Thank you.